Hi, welcome, welcome. I am Kelly Pitts, independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator in Lubbock, Texas since 2005. And I really enjoy doing Stampin' Up! As a business. I used to just do it as a hobby on the side and had a lot of great fun with it, and am excited that now I get to do it full time. So I'm so glad you joined, whether or not you're watching live or on the replay on Facebook or YouTube. Either one, happy to have you here. Sorry I'm a little bit later today. My husband and I are involved with the spelling bee. My husband is the official pronouncer. Hello, Tanya. Good to have you join. My husband's been the official pronouncer for the regional spelling bee for about 30 years. So it has been going on a while, and I get to be a judge, and my friends Kathy and Frank Phillips and Susie Smith all get to enjoy that and get to watch the kids who have studied so hard do the spelling bee. So we had that this morning at my usual time, so I just rescheduled for this afternoon. So thanks a lot again for tuning in. I'm excited. We've got a lot of new things coming up. We have a new catalog, a new annual catalog, and we have some online exclusives. We've got a color refresh. We've got all kinds of things going on with Stampin' Up! So it's an exciting time. So glad you're here with me today to do a card from some of you signed up for the Gorgeous Ginkgo class to go. And this is one of the cards in that kit. So we're going to get after it. If you have any questions or comments, please let me know. And if you haven't given permission to Facebook, StreamYard, you should get a little notification that says if you'll check the box and let us know who you are, and we can display your comments and I can tell who you are instead of having it show Facebook user, which is great, but I'd love to be able to greet you by name. So again, glad you're here and watching. Let me know when you come. Oh, yes, Tanya was a teacher, and she helped teach kids for the spelling bee a while back. That's been a few years for Tanya, so she hasn't been a teacher in a while, but those are great memories. I remember being in the spelling bee myself and studying my tail off for that. So it's quite the experience. So we're going to get going here. I wanted to let you know today is a combination of using the Ginkgo Branch Bundle, which means it's the Ginkgo Branch dies and the Ginkgo Branch stamp set. And when you purchase them both at the same time, you get a, let's switch this around. We'll go ahead and do that little switcheroo if it'll let us here. There we go. You'll be able to buy both of those at 10% off, which is awesome. Because once you get one, you'll definitely want the other. And then today we are also using the Texture Chic paper. This is from a big pack. I don't have all the sheets here, but if you are watching my blog post, you'll be able to see how these work together really, really well. The Ginkgo and using these colors in the Texture Chic DSP to go with it. Even though the Texture Chic has a suite or a bundle to go with it, a stamp set and matching dies, you can coordinate. You always want to find a lot of new uses for your stamps and for your papers and all that. So today we're mixing and matching from a couple of different suites in the catalog. And the Ginkgo Branch is in the mini catalog, which is about to go out. So again, we've got lots of changes coming up with Stampin' Up! So the color refresh means we're going to get new colors, not just the end colors that we normally get every year, but we'll also be getting some new colors, just new colors. And then we've got a couple that are returning that we know of, Pretty Peacock and Lost Lagoon. So if you need refills, if you need cardstock, if you need anything, like if you have one part of a color and not everything to go with that color, and especially the ink refills or the refill, people call them different things, but I call them ink refills. Some people say refillers, whatever you want to call it, to refill your ink pad. those go really fast once they announce. We're going to find out as demonstrators on March 29th which colors are going to remain in the line and which ones are going and what our new colors are. So exciting. It's great. Okay, we're going to get this card going. And this type of card is a wonderful one if you love both sides of the designer series paper and that they work well together. You know, sometimes both sides are really pretty, but they don't necessarily look good together. So this is one of those pages that really looks pretty either way. So if y'all want me to flip the card and do it the other way, we can do that, or we'll just stick with the same one today. I've got that all worked out. This is an 8" by 5 1/4, scored at 4 inches. So we're going to just get that scored, get our little bone folder, which is right here. Make sure we've got a good crease on that. I love just this kind of abstract look here on that. Then I have already cut the scalloped rectangle. That's the other die bundle or die set that we used. We didn't use anything from this stamp set. 155560, I think. 560, yes, 155560 is that one. It's called the Scalloped Contours Dies. And this is one that if you don't have it, I would grab it. I don't know if it's going to be staying in the line. I hope so, but it is. I use that one a lot. Do you, Tanya? I know you're watching. I know I use it a lot. Okay, and in the kit, if you bought the kit from me, this is the social soft succulent ribbon, and you'll also get a full piece of the foam adhesive sheets, and these are in the regular annual catalog, and they are number 152815, and they are foam adhesive sheets. Oh yeah, Tanya, I do. I use that die set a lot. Yep, surely do. Okay, so I've already pre-cut that. And then we've got one more pink. I don't know why I really put 2 full-size pinks and a smaller pink in your kit if you got the kit, but I'm not sure what I was thinking at the time. But we're going to need one triangle. I'm going to go ahead for this little pocket. You can make this triangle come all the way out to the edge, or you can make it shorter where you've got an even border here. I think I'm going to go ahead and pull it all the way down on the video so y'all can see how that looks. And I didn't go ahead and cut my square. That's a 4-inch square. We're just going to go corner to corner with it on the trimmer. Let me see where I hid my trimmer. Let's go ahead and do that step before we get the die out. Die cutting machine, Stampin' Cut and Emboss. Let's see if we can get this. I don't know if we can get it all in there. Yep. And we've got a glare from the light. So hope y'all can still see. So I'm just lining up corner to corner. It's a square, so it doesn't matter which corner to which corner as long as they're opposite. And just hang on to it and hang on to your guard. And you've got your 2 triangles. Then we're going to pull up the Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine. Oh, nope, we're going to do one more step. I'm going to come back and we're going to use the Painted Texture 3D embossing folder, which is number 154317. I use this one a lot also. We're going to use that to give some texture to our triangle. But I want to show you how, so that we can do both of these once we get our Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine up. I'll show you how to do the foam adhesive sheets. These are like a big solid sheet of Stampin' Dimensionals, basically. It's just a flat sheet, and you can use them like dimensionals. You can cut them any way you want. I cut them with my big guillotine type cutter that Stampin' Up! Used to have, instead of using my, I'm afraid it's going to get hung up on my little regular trimmer. But use however you want to. You can just cut it with scissors if you want. And what I did, this piece of paper is cut at 3 1/4 by 4 1/4. This cardstock. This is Petal Pink, which is one of the coordinating colors for the DSP. And this, just like dimensionals, has a backing on both sides. So just peel one side off. And looks like I didn't quite peel all that off. There we go. And for a long time, I tried to figure out how to put this over that. Duh, that was my blonde coming through. Let me give you a hint. This is how I know. Just do it backwards. Just get an even border. I always cut my foam adhesive sheets a little bit smaller. This one's a 1/4 inch smaller, so it's 3 by 4. I'm trying to get it even. Okay, which is usually not critical, but I kind of made this almost exactly because I was used to doing that. I've got several cards where I was using the gold, the distressed gold paper, which is kind of like gold. I mean, it's, I think it's $2.50 a sheet, $5 for a 2-pack. So I don't want to waste any. So this, if you do it exactly right, I'm going to show you on here. So, you know, if y'all have my kit, whenever you're doing your gold or whenever you're doing anything with this Ginkgo branch, if you're doing it on a 3-inch by 4-inch surface, which is what this is, see how it barely fits? And you have to cock it sideways. You can't do it this way. You can't, I mean, there's only one way it's going to fit and cut out. And that is with this in one corner. Okay. So you can see there's just barely a border. So we're going to have to estimate on the other side here where you've got that extra border. So it's up to you. The only thing about making this the same size as this, if you don't get it exactly, then you have this sticky stuff hanging out that goes who knows where, gets stuck to who knows what, your trimmer probably. So we're going to just line this up and try to keep that even border. Keep the border here about the same as that and about the same as this. And that should be about right. Okay. Then we're going to get our Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine, which this is pretty close. I just hate to change that up at this point. Then we'll have to redo it again. And I know some people get dizzy when you do that. So try not to do that very much. Okay. We're going to set this on here. And if y'all think it's going to move or have had trouble with it moving, you can tape it. But I think this is going to work. And we're just going to crank that through with the regular sandwich. It's tight, but it works with the 2 clear plates and the die cutting thing. You could probably do without the number 2. In fact, I'm going to go ahead and go back through. This is a detail die. And this is a little bit different way to do it, to use the die. So I'll show you that too. When you cut the detailed die out of paper, normally if you didn't have this foam adhesive sheet, you would have this. And then you would have to poke these little areas out right here. Okay. So on this card, I decided I wanted to leave those little areas in if I could at all. So I'll show you that trick, which may or may not work on camera. We'll just say that. So what I'm going to do, I think it's easier to try to peel away what you don't want, if that makes sense. And I'm leaving the backing on here so that the sticky part will still, I'm still going to pull that off later. Okay. So I'm peeling away the part I don't want, trying to keep everything else in the die. If you can see from the edges how I'm doing that. Hopefully. Okay. Now there went that die. That's good. So we're good so far. So you see what I mean about I'm not pulling this up. I'm pulling this away from the part I want to keep. To kind of make sure I get that going in the right direction. Like I want it to. Okay. Now this is going to be starting to get a little trickier. What we want to do is peel the backing off too as we go, so that we're leaving all those little inside pieces in. Now, this is not the way you would do it. Like I said, it's not the way you would do it if you're wanting to get all the little bumps or the little inside petals. If you want to get those out, then you would not do it this way. Okay, this is just for trying to keep them in. And I'm trying to get everything to lift up, keeping down the part I don't want. You can take those out. See what I mean? Hopefully you can tell that, because the more you touch this, the more likely you are to pull those little goodies out. If you can find an area like this one, see, that's a solid. It doesn't have any holes that could come out. So that's a good place to grab if you need to grab this other side to help you pull this off. And it's not bad if you're just patient with it. Okay, I'm grabbing right there. See, in this part I don't want, so I'm going to try to pull it away. And if you want to save this for something else, you can. The part that, the negative part, this. So you could cut another flower out of that or something else if you wanted to use later, and you would still have that foam and that dimension on there. Okay, so I'm still on this middle part here where I don't have anything I'm pulling out. But yeah. So we're going to get this part out. We're pulling it away. This is the part I don't want in there. This is kind of an in between the flowers area. And we kind of want this part gone right here. That's an in between the flowers area. And one good thing would have been, let's see how this will work on here, on my silicone mat. Okay, so I'm pulling away the part I don't want, trying to leave those stems intact. Okay, now I'm sticking to just that one part. Now we're going to get our take a pick tool, or if you've got the Stampin' Score board, and you can use that tool, whatever kind of pokey tool you have. Just make sure your finger stays where there's not any of these little guys. Trying to peel that out. And you don't even have to peel each and every one of these out. We could leave that in if we want. This is an in between the flower part. Get rid of that. Get rid of this one. So as you can see, you can push it through, pull it from the back, whatever works for you. Just get rid of the negative space that you don't want. And just hold it carefully like this. I'm going to try to hold just that bottom part and not poke my finger here with this. But it's worth it to get this effect, peeps. And it's just makes such a difference to have this foam adhesive sheet back here, giving the whole entire detailed part a lift, some dimension. Hello, Kay. So glad you tuned in. It doesn't matter if you're late. You can catch up from the first. Let me show you the front of the card that we're working on. Okay, since you came in a couple minutes late. No problem. I would always rather have somebody come in than not come in, whether you're late or not. Here's what we're working on. And we have attached this to a foam adhesive sheet and then die cut it. So I'm just getting out the parts that I don't want in there. And as I said, some of these that are in between, you could leave in if you just don't want to mess with this much stuff. You don't really have to. I just kind of like a clean look, and I think getting these negative spaces out gives it a cleaner look. And I think I'm close. I don't know if I'm going to leave those in. We'll see. See, that looks better where you can actually see the stems between the flowers instead of seeing that. But I am leaving all the ones in that are a part of the flower. Thanks, Kay. Whoop. My pokey tool came apart. That's the good thing about the Take Your Pick tools, is that you can switch this out, but it's a little, uh-oh, now I've got my finger behind that. Dang it. That could be a problem in a minute. We shall see. Okay, I think this is about the last thing I'm going to pull out of there. You gotta be patient on this one, but I really think the results are worth the effort. Okay, we're going to carefully try to disengage here. I'm going to hold all that stuff in. See, that's where I stuck my finger and I shouldn't have, right there. So we're going to tuck that back in right now. All right. All right. I think we're going to make it. So if you're watching what you're doing, because if you ever pull them out, then and you're not paying attention, it's hard to figure out which little spot they came from. Yay! Look at that. Isn't that pretty? Okay. Next, we should have, before we did this, I recommend, if y'all got the kit, I forgot about this part. It's been a couple of weeks or 3 since I designed this. Just lost something back where I can't see it. Hold on. Get our little scratch paper here. And you could see that you could do this if you don't have the... Thanks, Tanya. I knew it was going to be tricky on there. But if you don't have this texture sheet paper, there's a lot of different papers that you can use. You just have to make sure both sides coordinate. Okay, so we're going to lay this on the front here. And let me see if it sticks to this. No, not really. Hoorah. Okay, we're taking a chance there, peeps. But I was trying to clean up some of this extra stuff here. Foam. Let me see. Don't stick. Okay. I'm going to go ahead since I made this mistake. But y'all, if you got this kit from me or you do this at home, go ahead and do the blending with the brush that I'm going to show you. Go ahead and do that first before you take it out. Just after you've die cut it, but before you take anything out, okay? Because that'll be a lot easier, because we're going to have to go back over and do this. All right, kind of get this where you want it. And I think we're going to maybe add a greeting to this one across the bottom here. Hopefully I have that label already. I did it. I just don't know if it's in this room. So I'm going to assume that I'm doing that. So I'm going to turn this at a little bit different angle. It's going to be a little more straight up. And just carefully, again, I'm trying to hold, whoops, I held the wrong place. Okay. So you can see here, try to get this, hopefully you're ambidextrous. See, I lost one piece, but I know exactly where it came from. So I'm putting all that down before we lose any other pieces. We're going to stick that back in. Hopefully y'all could see the little surgery there. This one almost came out. So see, you got all that flat. Yay. I'm going to see if I can get this one out after the fact. That was the one that I thought I was going to allow myself to stay in, but I decided I wanted it out after all. Okay, there we go. So that's how you use your foam adhesive sheets and with this Ginkgo branch. And you can see this would have been lovely, just like this. That's pretty too. And if you want to do it that way, that's great. But I just thought this really gave it a different look. So all of my other cards I designed with this ginkgo branch, I went ahead and cut out the detailed part. All right, with the petal pink, we're just going to take a little bit of the petal pink, and using these mini brushes, you really need the small brush. The big one is just really big, and it's hard to get that to work properly on here because it's just covers too big an area. Okay, so you always tap off so you get that yucky blobby stuff there off. And I'm just doing a little bit of this at the base of these just to give it a little bit more dimension. And this is the petal pink color, which it says it's petal pink on the cardstock too, but to me, they don't really perfectly coordinate. It's has a little more brown in it, almost brownish orangey, peachy. But that works since it's got the mango melody on this paper also. So to me, that makes it work. Anybody had a fun weekend so far? Or everybody, hopefully? Anybody doing anything fun? We went to the ABC Rodeo boot scoot in Levelland last night and had a nice time. There were lots of people there. We just left early because we had to get back because my hubby was still prepping for the spelling bee, and I'm getting ready for this and another class I've got tomorrow. If any of y'all are in the Lubbock area and do kind of advanced work, this is our advanced one of the month. So we're going to be playing with the Sweet Citrus Bundle. I found one more little guy that needs to come out. There we go. Okay, can y'all see how that petal pink, that just kind of gives it a little more oomph, I think. Do we need any more? And I would stick mostly to the base of those if you can, because you don't want to get hung up and start pulling any of these little guys out. Make sure those are down good. Okay, now I'll show you another way to get some color in there. We're going to use, I tried the soft succulent and I tried the soft suede and really decided I wanted the branches to show up more. So I used, let me see here, let's get this where it's not quite such a mess for you. We're going to come back to that. Okay, here we go. Get that back in. Now, I'll show you, we're going to use the basic gray marker, and you could probably use the blend. I didn't try the blend. So whichever one you have, you want to use the side of the marker of the broad tip if you're using the Stampin' Write marker. This is the one that's just our dye ink, just like our regular ink. The blends are actually alcohol markers. So I'm going on the top of here, but you got to have a steady hand. This is what I was mentioning earlier, that if you're going to do this, do it before you put it on your paper, because if you slash a mark on here, you're going to be able to see it on your paper. But hopefully this one is a little more forgiving than some, because it is kind of abstract and has a lot of colors all mixed up. So I'm just carefully going around and putting this where there's a stem. But it would be much easier if you do it first. Just saying. Do what I do, not what I say. Or do what I say, not what I do. I don't know. Whichever one that is. But y'all can see, hopefully, what a difference that makes. It really gives definition to the flowers. You can tell such a difference between the flowers and the stems now. So, hey Tanya, sorry you'll miss the end, but this is easy enough. Thanks a lot for coming. Have a good time at your granddaughter's game. That'll be great. Have fun. Oh my, Kay, snowing. Oh, it's nice here in Lubbock today. If we could use the snow, I tell you, and moisture. We at least need the moisture. That's for sure. Woo, we are missing that. So hope y'all are needing the snow. Okay. Your cardinal sure is pretty on your little icon or logo or emoji or whatever you want to call it. Okay, I think that's all of that. And then we're going to stamp the ginkgo branch, the big branch, onto, let me see where that is. We're going to stamp it in petal pink also. Put that over there out of the way. And we'll get our little, I'm going to put this back in its case before I misplace it. Okay. Now, we've got this piece that I told you a while ago I cut out with the rectangle contour dies, scalloped contour dies. Okay. Sorry, we got a lot going on here. Okay, we're going to leave that. And I'm going to show you here. This is going to be the inside of the card, that little pocket. Can you tell I've got this really pale here? So I've stamped off onto scrap paper and then stamped on here, second generation. So that's what we're going to do. Just going to get this big stamp. And if you have trouble with arthritis in your hands or anything like that, and you have difficulty holding a big block, I just have huge hands. So I don't really have a lot of trouble. I do have some pain in my hands, but don't we all at this, whatever age we are, right? Okay, I'm inking this up. See if I can get that over a little bit. There you go. So I've got the petal pink on there, and that's going to be too dark. I know that. So I'm just going to go ahead, and maybe I'll use this for another card. Just going to stamp this because I don't think I need this other pink sheet. All right, so I'm going to stamp it on here just in case I need this for a different card. Get that where y'all can see really well. Use even pressure all the way around. Okay, I'll show you how dark that's going to be. So you couldn't really write over that. It's too dark. So now we're going to take the piece that we wanted it on, and we're going to kind of cut this off at the bottom and the sides. You don't want to let it cut off the sides on your first piece because it'll show that line of wherever it goes off the edge. So you want to be sure the first time you stamp it off on scrap paper or on other paper that you don't hang off the edge. But this one we can. Okay, now I'm going to make sure this is going to be light because it's second generation. I did not re-ink my stamp. So it is going to be really light. There you go. And in the background. And it will darken up a little bit as we go. And this texture, all that is a little bit fuzzy. It's not crisp. That's the way it's meant to be. It's designed that way. So no worries there. Woo, almost. I did. I threw my brush in the trash. You can see that on the stamp set. See how it has the variation in color? That's the way it's intended to be. So this is the little card that you can write on the front. You could write on the back if you had a more extensive message. And don't think I brought my cleaner in here. I always forget something. So I'm glad it was something I didn't really have to have that minute. Okay. Now, all we do is glue this. We're going to glue the, whoop. Be careful with the little pieces. I just stuck them back in here for now, but I may decide to cut out another flower out of this later. I don't know. Okay, so you've got a piece that's 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. And we're just going to glue. Make sure you're gluing the right side, you know. on here. We're going to glue that. Ah, and I didn't do the texture a while ago. Oh, well. Let me find my glue. We're just going to use Seal. That's what I came across first. You could use Stampin'. That went across the room. Oh, my goodness. And this, as I said, is 4 by 5 1/4. And this piece is 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. So let's get this flat. You don't want to do it with it closed, like your tendency is to do it closed because you want it to look like it's supposed to look when it's folded. But get this bumpy stuff out of the way before you put the glue on the back here. And I'm just going to use Seal. You got to flick your wrist and break that tape. I'm going to put a little in the middle there. I want to make sure this really stays on because you've got a heavy front there. Okay, now you can fold it. And we're just going to put it flat on this surface. You should have an even border all the way around. So if you get 3 sides right and kind of peek over at the 4th, there you go. That's your card base that this is attached to now. Okay, easy peasy, right? Okay, now let's get the piece that the triangle that we had earlier. And we'll have to get I'm just going to go ahead and run that through and give it texture. I just wanted to show y'all how to cut it. So on this particular embossing folder, I chose this because it's multi-directional. You can do it whichever way your triangle ends up so that you don't waste this triangle. So if you had, in other words, if you had writing going across, like say the timeless texture one, then this, when you do this triangle, it would be upside down unless, well, looks like you could do it that way after it's cut. I guess it doesn't matter. Huh, never mind. Thought I was being smart. Okay. I'm just going to go ahead and run it through. All we do is the base plate and this, and then the 3D folder on top. The 3D plate. The gray one. Okay, and here we go. So you can make 2 cards at once and use that triangle. Now we're going to need tear and tape. We use a lot of different adhesives here with the Stampin' Up! Products. Excuse me, I got to get a drink of water. Thanks, Kay. I'm kind of behind. I'm not sure which touch that was you like, but I'm glad. If anybody else is watching, I would love to see your comments and see who you are. I always love to have people watch, whether it's on the replay or live on Facebook or YouTube. So I'm happy to have you here. Okay, we're just going to make a little pocket with our triangle. And I'm going to put tear and tape. This is the easiest because the seal is a little bit too wide. So we're just going to take this, and you can just tear it, which is kind of handy. Probably have to cut it anyway to get it exactly all right up to the edge. Hopefully my head's not in the camera too much. Grab my little scissors. Cut that off. Then we'll do one on the other side. Make sure we're doing this right. Okay, we've got one this way, one this way. So this is going to be the bottom. So I'm going to put it right here. Just double check yourself that you don't get it in the middle where you think you want to tack your card. Okay, Kay, yeah, I see what you mean. On the stamping that over the little rectangle. Glad you like that little touch. All right, now we've got that. And if it extends over a little bit, you can just, sorry, I don't know how to get my hand in there to pull that off without being under the camera where y'all can't see. Some things you just have to imagine, right? Y'all are crafters. You've been there, done that on a lot of this stuff. So the longest edge is going to be the one you're not going to glue on, because that's going to be the point to point. And as I said, I'm going to go all the way to the edge on this one. Tear and tape is not forgiving. So we may, this is probably why I didn't do that, because you don't want that showing. Okay, then. I'm discovering just now, because on this card, see how I cut this a little smaller? And I was thinking it was just to leave that border, but no, it was because I was being smart, and because we don't want this showing from the inside. Now we have, let's see. Let's see how we do here. If we just cut this extra part off here, because I don't want the stamping, I don't want the tear and tape in my trimmer, and I can clean it off my scissors. We'll see how well I did there. So it's better to go point to point there and keep it kind of on the inside. And I usually tuck either a credit card or go ahead and tuck this piece of paper in before I glue that second side down. And that way, you know, you've got room in there for this, okay? Because you can, if you really flatten it out first, you may not have room to tuck what you want to in there, or get it to go as far down as you want, okay? So that's not perfect, but it's not going to wiggle like the other glue. So there you go. Now we're going to put a little ribbon and maybe a sentiment layer. I cut. And I really like, with this paper, I kind of thought about using the vanilla. I thought that would be pretty to do a greeting across here. This one, I didn't do a greeting at all. I didn't think it needed one. And I decided I would try it on this one. So we're going to put, I'm just going to tie a little bow. Some people do the bunny ears. I just tie like I do my shoelaces, and which come undone all the time. You can ask my husband about that. Just depends on the shoes. The different laces are different. So some of them stay and some of them don't. Okay, so we've got our little bow. You can mess with it a little bit and get it the way you want. If you want to adjust it, just make sure you hold the knot in the middle. Okay, we're going to tighten that up now. Okay, so we've got a little bow, and we can trim the ends when we get ready. Let's go ahead and stamp a sentiment, and I think I'm going to use basic gray ink, because that's what I used on the, I could use soft succulent, but I think I'm going to use basic gray. The darker colors really show up more. And if anybody has a sentiment that they would like to see on here with the, out of the Ginkgo Branch set, do y'all think this looks more like sending hope and peace, thinking of you with sympathy? Any of those? Thanks, Tanya. Glad you joined us. See you tomorrow for class. Okay. Anybody? Any input from anybody? What you want to see? These, all of these sentiments are pretty. Do y'all think this would be a pretty sympathy card? Or do you like the sending hope and peace? I think I'm going to do a sympathy. If nobody is responding, that means I get to pick. Okay, I had a little block here that I brought in with me. Let's see where that went. Here we go. We'll just do the with sympathy. And of course we want to get our Stampin' Pierce mat back out. And I've already cut the label out. This label with the embossing and everything is in that set, in the Ginkgo Branch Bundle. We're going to either lose the card or the stamp thing here. And I moved my own screen Let's see if I can make that. There we go. Okay, we're doing sympathy, yes. It does have some nice sentiments. Thanks, Kay. Okay, and I'm going to move this over more to the right. Let me see. Let's decide if we want, because with this label, this could be over here, or this could be over here. It could be above it if we want, and have this across. Might need to be smaller. But I think we could kind of tuck it. I think it'd be better if we say that with sympathy over here and kind of play with the bow on the left. That makes more sense to my brain. We'll see if it does to yours once we get it on here. So we're going to go over toward the right. Let me see. I'm going to have to get over it. Straight down, straight up. Try not to wiggle. Didn't get it very straight. That's why I bought 3. If y'all haven't done videos before, it's kind of like to get it to where y'all can see it and where I can see it is a little tough because I need to look right through the phone camera and show y'all my double chin. Good grief. Okay. Here we go. Straight down, straight up. And now I got the edge. Okay. Let's get that cleaned off. We got one more shot. We may have to go with the first one. Okay, I'm going to pull it further this way. We're going to pull that down. Close enough. There we go. So that's the basic gray. And if we want a little bit of an edge, put that down there. We can take a marker. Let's try it on one of these that we're not going to use. I'll show you how this looks. If you just go along the edge of that. What do y'all think of doing that around the reading? Do you like that? We'll try it just to show you that technique. And you don't want to push straight down hard with your tip like that. That can really ruin your tip. It makes it where it's not sharp anymore. So if you always try to keep it a little bit sideways, that works a lot better and gives your tip a much longer life. And I've found it's easier just to go for it. Make big long strokes. Do the best you can. Because if you kind of hesitate and do lots of little short strokes, you're really more likely to make it where it shows if you've made a little boo-boo. And then you can always go back and fill in if you've missed a little bit of a spot. And then if you really want this to stand out and you have a steady hand, you can kind of go along the edge like that. Hopefully you can, I can't look up and do this at the same time. See how it looks on camera. But that way I'm covering that very edge too. That's the vanilla paper. But I really like the look of the vanilla paper and I forget to use it. Do y'all use vanilla paper or do you use white all the time? The very vanilla versus the basic white. Okay. We've got, I think this is a little big for sympathy. Make that a little smaller. I'm going to waste some ribbon, but that's the way it's going to be. Get my big ribbon scissors that I reserve for this very thing. I didn't waste too much. That's not bad. Okay. We're ready. Let's figure out how we want this on. Now we don't need dimensionals on this part. This is already raised. So we only need to raise this end and that end. And then we don't want it directly under where this is. So I may go ahead and put a glue dot on here underneath the bow. And I have found it's easier to take your bow or your embellishment or whatever it is that you're using a glue dot on. It's easier to take the embellishment to the glue dot. So put the glue dot on there, mash it on there, kind of twist it and pull it off, and then your glue dot is on here. If you want to do a second one to make sure that your bow is really, really secure, do another one. Twist it. There you have it. So now I didn't get it off with my fingers and get the glue dot on my fingers and then try to get it back off and put it back on here. It's not a struggle this way. People, get off the struggle bus. Take your bow to the glue dot, not vice versa, if you can. Okay, we're going to put this over in this corner, kind of at an angle. Well, that's sweet, don't you think? All right, now we'll get a dimensional for this part. We're just going to put one at this end and one at this end. So this isn't directly under the glue dot, hopefully. I mean, under the bow. So we don't need to worry about the middle sagging because it's going to be over this. I think I've already said that, but just to reiterate, just so you know what I'm talking about. I'm going to come down a little more, cover more of the stems and less of that flower. Now we're going to put a couple of embellishments on this one. I'm going to use well, I had brought some gold blingy ones, but I don't think that's what we want for a sympathy card. So let me see what my other choices are. And I had a package of the opal rounds, the in color 2123 in color opal rounds. That's what I was thinking. And I had a package that was open. And of course, that one's not what's on top. But we can use those, I bet. That way we can have an embellishment, but it's not too flashy. It's pretty subtle. And that soft succulent color is really, really pretty with this set. Okay. One more look, one more peek in my box where I have some of this other paper. Nope, don't see them. Okay, we're going to go ahead and open this one and get out some of the soft succulent to tie in with this. Hope y'all are having a lovely day, lovely weekend. Okay, I hope your snow is really pretty and not the icy, ugly kind that just messes up the streets. Hope it's falling and lovely and y'all are enjoying it. Okay. I'm going to put a smaller one here. And let's see if we want a big one here. And a small one here. No, we want a big one here. Let's put a big one here. So it focuses a little bit more on the greeting. And I think the only thing we lack is just on the inside. And I have cut, oh, that's what that other pink one was for. The other pink piece of paper that I couldn't figure out why I did that. But it was for cutting out, for those of you who bought the kit, for y'all to cut out a detailed die just without the foam adhesive sheets. Oh, okay. Well, good. Okay, my goodness, only 30 miles away, they had 10 to 13 inches. Whoa, that's a lot of snow. We've seen that in Lubbock a couple times, but not that often. Okay, let's see what we're doing here. What you can do is take any portion of this. I wouldn't have any hanging over this because if you're going in and out, you're going to break these off because they are very detailed. So I'm just going to choose some where to chop this. I'm going to start right here and go under here. Chop this. Can y'all kind of see what I'm doing? A little die surgery. Okay, that came off nicely. Okay, I think I'm not going to have these stems hanging down here. Just going to cut those off. Now let's see. Do we want to lose one of these or do it at an angle? I think we kind of are going to have to lose this one. I'll cut a little bit of that off. Okay, then I'm going to take this one. I thought I was. I guess I'm just going to take, I cut too much of that little leafy portion off, so we're just going to trim it down. Just make things work. So I'm going to put him back under here so that we have 5. 1, 2, 3. I don't want just 4. Let's see if we like any of these better. I think we're okay with this one. If we get that square off, kind of make it rounded. Well, thank you, Kay. I'm glad you love this. I always appreciate it when somebody appreciates the efforts that go into it, and I'm glad you like my designs. I'm happy to help anybody who is interested in purchasing any of these products that we're using today. They're all available in my online store, and I think I've already posted the blog post. It was supposed to post earlier today, but with the spelling bee stuff, I haven't checked. I think it posted either yesterday or this morning. Should have. So if you haven't subscribed to my blog, that's createwithkelly.com, and it will have measurements and a little bit of instruction. I think some things you really need to see visually, like on the video, but it does kind of tell you some basic stuff. And I'm just trying to do little bits of glue here and there. And gonna put that right there. Snip that off. Then we're going to decide if we like this one tucked in here or not. Or if that end's going to show. Maybe if we cut it smoothly off, it will tuck in a little better. All right. So if any of y'all have any questions about the upcoming color refresh with Stampin' Up, or need any products, or need me to send you a catalog once the new ones come out, or whatever, let me know. Happy to help you. If you don't already have a demonstrator, I am happy to serve as yours. Because guess what? They can ship to different states. It doesn't have to be, you don't have to be right here in Lubbock. But if you are in the Lubbock area, I would love for you to attend some of my card making experiences that I have here. Yay! All right, on this card, I jazzed it up and added a little of the gold. Do y'all think that's appropriate for a sympathy card since we kind of changed and made this sympathy? Or do you think we should just leave off the gold and just do this? Maybe go back to our little blending brush and petal pink and add a little more depth that way instead of adding the gold. I don't know if that would be, that's kind of considered flashy or what. But we could do a little bit of this. Make sure y'all can see again. And again, if you think of these things before you glue them to the paper, that would be a better idea. But I don't think it's going to be critical here. Okay. Trying to get at an angle where I can see. So a little bit on the base of those little ones, and then a little bit more of those with the lines, because the lines in there kind of show up. Can y'all see that? How the ink gets kind of in those detailed lines that come in the dies. Isn't that pretty? All right. Well, if you would like to get the PDF tutorial for 7 different cards with this Ginkgo Branch set, I do offer those for $20, and that can be for anybody can order the $20 tutorial. And if you're in the Lubbock area and want to come to some classes or card making experiences, I've got a Crafty Gals Night Out coming up at the end of this month that I'm excited about. That I met some ladies at the Lubbock Women's Club Sip and Shop, and one of the ladies there has invited friends over. And I've also had Margaret Trantham did one of those too with her friend Phyllis Underwood and some other friends. So we've done that. We've got another one scheduled already this month. So hopefully we'll just be doing that every month. You can grab some friends and come over for a Crafty Gals Night Out if you're from my area. And certainly could work with you on doing something via Zoom if you're not in the area. Happy to talk to you about possibilities. So if y'all are interested in any products, if you would go to createwithkelly.com, that would be awesome. Awesome. And my host code is at the bottom there, DM2E3MHZ. If you'll be sure and put that host code in when you order, and then you will help me out a lot. And then also I'm trying to get where I can send cards to everybody who orders using the host code. So either a card kit ready to make of some kind. It won't be this because I don't have enough of this Texture Chic paper to do this. Excuse me. But I'm happy to help. I thank you for tuning in. I hope you'll subscribe and like, subscribe, share, all of the above. So thanks a lot. Have a great weekend. Since I don't see any more questions or anything, I will let you go. Y'all have a great one. Thanks a lot. Fun times ahead. I appreciate you watching. Bye-bye.